Welcome to another episode on Wordle. Okay, so I'm going to first start off with a list of dictionary, and then I'm going to say I'm going to look only at the words that have a length of exactly 5, invert the selection and delete them. Okay, so suppose I'm looking for the first starting word and I want to have a word that has the maximum number of vowels. I'm going to show you how to do it first, and then I'm going to explain the Python programming after that. So I'm going to call the function sets. Okay, sets essentially takes each of these words and break it up into all as letters. So a bag has A, B, C, and K. Right, these are the 4 unique letters that forms this set. So I'm going to call this sets as. Okay, and I'm going to calculate another expression. So this is going to be a Python loop expression. A loop essentially is like, you're going to go through a list and do something to it. So the list I'm going to go through is for I in S. So I'm essentially going through every element in this set. Each time I get one of this element, like for instance B, I'm going to say this element, is it in A, E, I, O, U, right? So these are the vowels, and they are going to give me a list of true and false, and I'm going to sum them up. Okay, so I'm going to just do a sum, add them up, and I get this new column. So this column here, I'm going to do a sort. So for instance, audio, it turns out to have 4 vowels. Among A, I, O, U, it has A, I, O, and U, right? Then then you have other words like about, acute. Acute is another word I like to use, right? So this is basically what you can do with Python, and now I'm going to show you what exactly is how it works in the background. So Python, you can do arithmetic like 6 times 7, so on. If you have a string, right, like let's say apple. Okay, this is a string. We can say call the sets function. Oops, sorry. I'm going to call the set function, and it's going to break it up into all these letters. So I can do something like, is P in this thing? Yeah, it is. The letter P exists in the set. Suppose I try something like M. Does the letter M exist? No, it doesn't, right? So essentially what we need first is a loop that runs through every element of the set, test it, what is it, true or false, and then after add them up together. Okay, so the loops in Python, right? So for instance, right, we have a set. Okay, let's think of this set, call it S. Okay, so S is now a set, right? So you can have a variable, you can have a function like for element in sets S, do something. For instance, you say print E, right? So if you do that, you have P, L, A, and E, right? So you see, essentially it goes through every element in this set S, right? Loops through the whole thing and then print E. Okay, this is a kind of a C style type of writing. In Python, the so-called Pythonic version of this version would be, you're going to write it as E for E in S. You essentially create a list from the iteration. So you have the P, L, A, and E, right? So this so-called E here is essentially an expression here. So you can have all type of expression, like you can say is E in A, E, I, O, U, which is what we did previously. You have a false, false, true, true. Something like false, false, true, true. If you were to sum them up, for instance, if I call a sum, they're going to count the number of true. True would have a value of 1. False is going to have a value of 0. This is called the Iverson notation. That's the inventor of this language called APL. Very interesting language, by the way. So you add up 2, right? So this is exactly what we were doing previously.